Aloha folks, welcome to Healthy Ukulele. Hopefully everybody's doing good. We are recording and we are going to be doing the 8th installment of this adventure we've been on about how I look at the fretboard. And we're going to be breaking it down. Today's stuff is not so much about breaking it down, it's more about doing an exercise. And we're going to be doing the exercise. I'm going to walk you through it. The hard part is going to be getting your fingers where it's going, but this is a participation day, so it's not so much about writing it down. This is more about like doing what I'm actually showing you guys how to do. So this one should be fun. All right, we're gonna get right into it. So the first thing we got to know, and we want to have, I don't know if you guys have been on the website, but we have all these PDFs that you can print out. You can get like, you know, tab paper, get some of this stuff, the staff paper, right? We have the chord grids, we have all those pictures there, and you can take your notes how you see fit with this. I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing with this exercise, and then we're going to go through the process of how you guys write that down. And again, it's completely up to you the way you want to do it. Anyway, so first things first. Last week we went over the extensions, right? The chord extensions. So like major 7, minor 7, dominant 7, and our minor 7 flat 5, also known as our half diminished chord. So we have these here, where you can see the root on the 3rd string and the root on the 1st string. And basically I just drew this out about as far as you could go down, with the C being the note of starting. Okay, but today we're gonna actually kind of go through and do this thing where we're gonna walk through all of these things around our circle of fifths. So if you guys aren't aware of the circle of fourths and fifths, that's this thing right here, and we've gone over this before. And you can kind of see that right there. If you go to the left or counterclockwise around the circle, you're going in fourths, and if you go clockwise, you're going in fifths. Okay, so today we're going to be going in fourths, and we're going to be taking our chord pictures around the circle of fourths, but we're going to be moving up the neck in the process. So it kind of looks like this, right? You take our first chord, our C major 7, and we're going to take it in the first position, move it to the second position, move it to the third position, and then to the fourth position. Now we've gone ascending, right? So C, 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 and C. Now we're going to descend a fourth away in F. So in order to do this, we have to know what the fourth picture looks like away from each of the chords that we have. So you guys remember we have 4 pictures, right? Root on 3, root on 1, root on 4, and root on 2. And those pictures that we've got right here, again, right? Those pictures will show us where we're starting. Today we're only doing major 7, so only the first column, the one with the triangle above it, right? That's our delta symbol. That means major 7. And we're just going to be going over this today, right? So these 4 shapes we're going to use for every one of our 12 keys. Okay? And of course the red dot here tells you where the root is. Okay, so the idea behind this exercise is to move in fourths. So we have to know where the fourth away is from each picture. And in order to do that, we're going to use a little system. Okay, so from here, right, I know that my root is on the 3rd string. And because of the tuning of our ukulele, right, we have a 4th between these two, and then 3rd here, and a 4th here. So if it's open here, right, on the 3rd string, it's going to be up a fret to make it a fourth on the second string. So what's the picture on the second string? It's that one. Right? So wherever I see this, the fourth away is this. But we also do what's called a front-back system, right? So a lot of times, if you're playing something, then some of the notes might be behind the nut. And if there's one behind that, we'd have to tune it down. So we can't do that. We'd have to move up to the next shape. Or maybe it's too far up and we can't reach it, so we'll play the shape behind it, right? So we have to know both shapes. So if I know that it's this shape, I just have to know the shape before this, right? So if we look at our picture, we got root on 3, root on 1, right? Looks like this. That's the one with that the crooked picture. Okay. Then we go to root on 4. Then root on 2. So that means that this picture is before this picture, right? So wherever we see this, a fourth away from there, we could go here, right? Or we could go from here to here. That's the same chord. This and this is the same thing, right? Okay, so that's from the root on 3 picture. Right, what I would call the C shape for this. Now our next shape would be this shape, right? So a fourth away from this shape. If I'm thinking in terms of what's directly from here, because this is with my root on 1, right? So we always know that the root on 1 brings us to here, right? That's my octave, and then the 4 is underneath the 1. So my next shape would look like this, from here to there, right? The first shape that we played. Or remember we said we have to know the back side of it too, right? Well, this, the 7th is here, and the shape with that and the 7th is that root on 2 shape. Right, so I've got this or this. Wherever I see this shape, I can either move up or move down. Another way to look at it would be that this is the root. Above the root is the 5. Back a whole step is the 4. And that's root on 2. Okay, next shape. Root on 4, right? So it looks like this. Or we play it here, but we can do it like this. Okay, root on 4. Now when you're here, the root being on the 4th string, if I go down, that would bring us to this picture. Right? And again, we said the behind picture of this would have been that F shape, right? So we can't go back here on that, but we can go forward. The forward shape of that would be that shape again. Right? So, or we could go. All right, and last but not least, our root on 2, right? So from here, I would go directly down, right? And I get this picture, right? The root on 1, and then the behind shape of the root on 1, we said was that picture that looks like this, but we'd have to move that up, right? So can't go back further this way. Now, if that's a little confusing, that's okay. All you got to remember is what string you're starting on, and then the picture is the string underneath it. Or if you're on the bottom string, just go to the shape on the 3rd string, right? And you can always play with forward shapes. The backward shape though comes in handy, and I'll show you why afterwards. But let's go through the exercise now. You guys have heard me say like 100 times that repetition is the mother of skill. And so doing this and following along is going to be imperative to us getting this not only in our heads but under our fingers, which is more important right now. We can always figure it out afterwards, but if we can't perform it, then figuring it out doesn't matter, right? So let's try. We're going to go here. There's C major 7. Okay. Now the next picture was we're going to take our root on 1. So move it up. I've got that picture. 4, 4, 3, 3. Okay. Now from here, right, root on 4. Right, so 5, 7, 7, 7. And then, right, that was the 7, so root goes on 8. And this is that F major 7 shape, right? So you got 9, 11, 8, 10, right? 9, 11, 8, 10. Okay, so since we're ending with this shape, the root's on 2, right? A fourth away would be root on 1, right? So the root on 1 shape would be here. Because we went up in C, right? If we look at our circle of fourths, remember what's up from C? Remember now we're going counterclockwise. So the next one would be F. Okay? And we said to go up a fourth, we move down a string. So that's that shape, right? Root on 1. Then we go to root on 3. Right? Because this was the 1, so the 7 is there. Root on 3 is where the 7 is on 1. Right? We got that picture. Root 7, that gives us the F shape. Right? But see, if we did like this, we go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 shapes, right? And we go here. 1, 2, 3. We're missing a shape. So remember how I said we have to go up 1, right? So from this picture where we ended up, we went 1, 2, 3, 4. Instead of going here, do you remember what we did? We went to the next shape, right? Root on 4. Right? Root on 4, root on 1, root on 3, root on 2. That gives us F major 7. Now from here, right, that's where that root was. We go down. We can't go further back that way, right? That's as far as we can go back, because even if I could play that note, I would have to go back, skip a fret, and then play the notes previous, so it would end up over here somewhere. We'd have to tune it way down. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to go here and play our B flat major 7. Right, we got that. Root on 1. Root on 4. Root on 2. And then from here, right, remember? We got that. Right, root on 3. And remember the picture from here, right? We could go a fourth away like this. Right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go fourth. Right? And this was root on 2. Prior to this shape, we had root. Oh, sorry. Can't get my fingers in there. This is way far up the fretboard. Right? There's it. Okay, root on 4. Going back. right? Goes back a step, and then the picture previous to this was, and the picture previous to this was, and we can't go further back down than this, right? We're at E flat. So our next picture would be A flat. And from here, we said we could do this, right? But again, if we did it from here, we would be missing a picture because we can still go one more back. So our A flat would be here, right? Previous to this picture. So root on 4 fits right there. Root on 2. Root on 3. And then we move up one more. Okay, so. And that's going to be going up from here. Right, so A flat goes up. Now we're going to D flat. Right, so if I'm here, remember where this picture goes. Right, we could either go up one, like this. Right, but that takes us where everything's past 12. If you see this, if you see where my finger is, everything is past 12 here. So that means I could play that note down there. So instead of going this way, right, from here, instead of going up to there, I will play the previous shape of this, which was this. Right, so that would be go up one, back down to there. Okay, and so from here we go down. That's the F shape, G shape, root on 4, A shape, root on 1, and then we're down to D flat. Okay, from here we said roots on 3, so go up to root on 2, G flat, going up from here to here. This is followed by this. This is followed by this. Right? And then that's that, the G shape. Let's try to move this over just a touch so we can see a little bit better. There we go. Right, so we're up here now. G shape. And so from G, or G flat, we're going to B. Right, so I could, with this, go here, right, and then go down. So this would be root on 3. Previous to root on 3, we had root on 2. Okay, previous to root on 2, root on 4. And previous to root on 4, root on 1. Gives us B. Okay, so now we're going up a 4th from B, which would give us E. Right, so we could do this and go to the E shape, right, E major 7, or we could go back from here. Now this would be played open, right, but it's this F shape, right, like that, but this is open. Okay, so we've still got this shape going. Root on 2 goes to root on 3, to root on 1, to root on 4. From here, a 4th away would be to drop this down. Right? Okay, gives me root on 3. Gives me root on 2, root on 4. Right, and then finally root on 1, which is open. But that's this shape, right? Like this, we just move these two to the open. Right, so that's A major 7. What's the next shape? D major 7. Right, root on 3, root on 1, root on 4, and root on 2. So going from here a fourth up, we bring this down, right? Root on 1, root on 3, root on 2, root on 4, and that brings us back to C major 7, where we started. We've gone through all 12 keys around the circle of fourths. So what we effectively did was we ascended in C, all right? So we ascended with C, descended with F, ascended with B flat, descended with E flat, ascended with A flat, descended with D flat, ascended in G flat, descended in B, ascend, descend, ascend, descend, and the circle goes around and around and around. Okay, that's going to be our exercise. Now the idea behind that is pretty simple. You move up a fourth, right? You go from here to here to here to here to here, and that can be a pain in the butt if you don't know the order of the shapes, right? So that's why we have to pound it into our head. The root on 3 leads us to its octave, which is on 1, leads us to its octave, which is on 4, and that leads us to back to the 2, right? So it looks like this. Root 3, right? Root 1, octave, root 4, octave, root 2, and then this brings us back to root on 3, right? That picture. So you get that, and then you understand what the next picture is, right? If this is, we're calling this a C major 7 picture, a fourth away would be the F major 7 picture, right? If the F major 7 picture, a fourth away would be the B flat major 7 picture, right? The B flat major 7 picture would be the E flat major 7 picture, and that's how we work these things through, right? We can see those ideas that kind of tie into each other. Now, what I want you guys to see, and I don't want you guys to have to use this, okay? But I put this on here so you can screenshot it and then write it out yourself, okay? Don't try to like read this thing all the time. I want you to think this out and then go back to this as a reference, not a crutch, okay? Because if you can't do this without looking at the paper, then you can't do this, okay? This is exercise 1. Okay, we're starting here. Let me erase this section here. Gotta get this out. There we go. Okay, exercise 1. That gives us the D flat. So we went ascended in C, down in F, up in B flat, down in E flat, up in A flat, down in D flat. Then we move over to this one. Okay? And then we go up in G flat, down in B, up in E, down in A, up in D, and then descend in G. And let me go ahead and draw the arrow for these so you can see. Here. Where's my red? There we go. Good enough. And Okay, and that's going to be your exercise. So you want to work on getting this going up and down. Okay, so I know it seems like a lot of work, but here's why this is important. Okay, if I can find where the fourth away from everything is, then I know that I have 4 of the 6 chords, right? Because you got your 1 and its relative minor, right? The 4 and its relative minor. Now the next thing we have to do is understand where the dominant is. The dominant is always where the 5 is. So if we look here, right, C major 7. My 4, we said, was this shape, the F major 7 shape. Okay, the 5 away from there is the G dominant shape. Okay, so now let's look at the relative minors. From here, C major 7. Right, so relative would be A minor 7 to get to A minor 7. Right? A minor 7. All open strings. And it would look like this, right? But it's this open. Okay, F major 7. So this picture here, watch this. Gives me D minor 7. Okay, F major 7. Walk it down. Gives me D minor 7. I can play it like this. Right? I play it like that. G7. This is already down. Alright, so if I drop it one more, E minor 7. Okay. And that's how we do that one. So what about the B? The B minor 7 flat 5. Well, check this out. Here's B minor 7. Right, because this was A minor 7. Root on 1. That means if this is 1, what's above 1? 5. So B minor 7, flat 5. Right? And that gives me my 7 chords in my key. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1, but now I play 1 in the next position. Okay? And this could be an entire new exercise too, because now we're from here. And if this is 1, where's my 4? Right, this picture told me that 1, I already played this as my 4, so I'm going to go up here. Right? So that's 1, 4. C major 7, A minor 7, right? So drop that down. Okay, F major 7, you remember where that was, right? So F major 7. We've got our picture goes like this. See? 4th away, F major 7, D minor 7. Okay. So again, 1, 4. I could go here for 5. Right? But we have a picture previous to this, right? Wherever we see the C7, we've got our D shape. Right? But this was the minor 7 flat 5 picture. We can, however, go one more down, right? Look at that picture. 5. Right, and what's the minor of this one? Like if I've got this, remember how we did this? We took our 7, dropped it down a half step, right? That's how we got the 3. So from here, 7 drops down half step. There's my 3. Okay, and then last but not least, we had our B minor 7 picture. So if we move that up 1, right? Because we got our minor 7 shape. B minor 7. Right? This is B. So we'll go in here. 5, flat 5. And then we get our chords from here. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 5, 6, and then we got our 7 chord, which whenever we play this picture, right? Whenever you do a minor 7 flat 5, if you will, right, that guy, you want to always have it leading in to the next note, right? So you see how this one led to my next picture, yeah? So our B minor 7 flat 5 is going to lead us back into our next picture, because this was here. So it's going to go from this one to this one, right? So look, see that? Same picture, but it moves up and splits apart. Brings us to our next one. Okay. Now the idea of this is to get you to see, without the Adamski method, or without the without looking at the cops always get free donuts thing, and just look at it from the chords. It's kind of drawing from the Tetris picture, but not really, right? We're looking more at where your root shape is. So this is kind of in and of itself its own little system. Now it might not look like much now when you're going up in this thing, right? You're going ascending, descending, right? You know, it doesn't look like a whole lot, but if you can figure out the major 7 going up and down, the minor 7 going up and down, the dominant 7 going up and down, and then the minor 7 flat 5 going up and down, guess what? You've got all your chord pictures in a row laid out on the string. So when it comes time to figure out a song and you're trying to get the chord melody down, you already know what those pictures are, and you can take this back and put it with the triad shapes. You know, the same idea. It's like reverse engineering this idea to go through. I'll show you what I mean with this, right? So so if we play "Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars," right? So how would I do that? Well, I think of this and I remember my shapes, right? So this is A minor 7. That's the melody note I need. So I can go, right? So you can, and I'm not thinking about the letter of the note. I'm not thinking C, B, A, G, F. I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about the shape of the chord picture, right? Because if I go here, so it's like from here, that's all part of this, right? Lift up that finger and then to D minor 7, right? So D minor 7. Then G dominant. And that's, right? See, I can't make that 7 go down here, right? Because I can't drop that note further. So I'll play it up here, right? Right? You kind of see how that goes? And you can find your melody lines based on where the chord pictures are. Now that's a couple steps away. Okay, that's a little bit far from where we are now. But this is the 35,000 foot view, so you can see the whole thing. And it starts with knowing this stuff. It starts with knowing where these chords connect, right? Knowing how to go up and down. Now the same thing, you might think the next logical step from here would be to go to from, these are major 7. So next step would be minor 7, right? Then we go to dominant 7. Then we go to dominant, minor 7 flat 5, right? And so that would be those steps that you would go through between these chord pictures, right? But I would suggest now, instead of going up in fourths, go up in fifths. Because we already learned the front and back picture of everything, right? Why not just go up in fifths? So what's the shape above C? Right? So if I go here, if this is my root, that's my root for the next picture, right? So if this is C, then the fifth away is the G major 7 shape. Right, from the G major 7 shape, if I'm going up a fifth, it's going to bring me to the C major 7 shape with the D, right? Because you got this picture here going from this 5 away would be D major 7. Now watch this. This is the weird thing, okay? From here, we went this to that to this. Now we're gonna go to that, right? What do you think the next shape is? See it? And it just goes up in fifths in that direction, and we can play that way, right? And that gives us a little bit more of an idea of how this works around the fretboard, because you can see the fourth relationship and the fifth relationship. Okay, but in actual chording, the reason we start with the fourths and not the fifths is because when we learn to chord things out and we learn to play to the key, the 5 is not a major, right? The 5 is a dominant. So you'd play right if we're just going around the key. But if we're playing in the key, okay, but since we already know our 4 and we can play its relative minor, then we can go to our 5 dominant and back to the 1. And this is the golden progression, right? We call the jazz progression, the 2 5 1. Well, because we know where all the fourths are, we can find the 2. And if we can go where the 4 is, move it up 2 frets. We've got the 5. Make that a dominant. Now we've got a 2 5 1. and we can play a 2-5-1 in every key in every position on the neck, right? And remember our thing about the chords. 1 3 6 2 4 5 7, right? Well, the 2-5-1 is the golden progression, right? So you got 2-5-1. Oops, let's get a actual pen. 2-5-1. And usually we stay on this for 2 bars, right? 2-5-1-1. Well, guess what? Watch this. We said 2 substitutes for 4, right? Let's keep the 5 the same. And let's do this. We'll go 1, but instead of playing 1 twice, we'll go to 6. Oh, now watch this. Because this is a loop and it just plays 4 5 1 6 4 5 1 6, what if we made 1 our starting point and just move 4 and 5 to the end? Oh, what's that look like? Here's my progression we started with, right? 2 5 1. By using our chord substitution number, we went 1 6 4 5. Put it into triads. Look familiar? So this tells us that the 2-5-1 was birthed out of, or the 1-6-2-5, 1-6-4-5 was born out of 2-5-1, right? So the jazz progression started everything, making it the golden progression. Okay, and if we can find that anywhere on the fretboard, then again our melody comes into that. But it comes back to the exercise. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to work on this exercise, and like I said, go ahead, print this, or screenshot this. Okay, once you got that one, I'm going to move to the next page, and I don't want you to just screenshot this and look at this. Okay, what I want you to do is actually draw it out and understand why it's going there. You see those numbers next to it? That's the frets. That tells you what fret you're on. Okay. And once you've gotten this, you're going to practice this going up and down. Now next week we're going to do the same thing with minors. Okay, we're going to go up and down with the minors. But instead of jumping straight to the dominants after that, what we're going to do is we're going to play the chord and its relative minor, then move up to the next frame. So what I mean is this, right? So we would go like C major 7, its relative minor. Right? C major 7, its relative minor. Right? C major 7, its relative minor. C major 7, and its relative minor. And the reason we're going to go in that direction is because I want you to see how that shores up between these two chords and how they lead into each other. Okay, the relative minor is a very, very strong thing in Western music. And so to be able to pick out your relative minor, we already know the fourth because the exercise is in fourth. That gives us 4 of our 7 notes, right? And when we go into dominant, then we'll go to the third, and then we'll already have our minor 7th flat 5 by the time we move that thing up. Okay, so that's going to get our that's going to get us to where we need it to be. Hopefully, that's been good and not too confusing, and you guys are able to follow along. Again, the fingerings are going to be the hardest thing, okay? Because some of these are kind of twisty. But once you get that, it's all good. All right, guys. Hopefully that's been fun.